Hello everyone, good morning. My name is Matt Bobula. I am an international master from Poland, and today that video is gonna be a webinar, and I'm going to talk about the 10-week course to improve your chess, the course that is free, and the course that I have created to help you to improve your chess. Let me just double check, does everything work? Yeah, I hope so. Okay, I think everything is fine. Okay, so let's start. How that webinar is going to look like. First of all, I'm gonna talk a little bit about the chess training in general. What elements do you have to learn? What elements should you study? I'm also going to talk about my training. How did I train during those years? Because it took me over 10 years to get to 2400. So I'm gonna tell you a little bit more about it. And later I'm gonna talk about that course that I have created. I'm gonna show you some lessons maybe. How does it look like? How should you work on this? And that's the point. Okay, so this is gonna be quite unusual because I'm not gonna show you a lot of things on the board. I'm gonna focus more on I will mostly talk today. Okay, just one thing. If you have got any questions, you can ask questions on my Twitch channel, right? I will try to answer those questions. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. And when you train chess, in chess there are a couple elements. Like in every sport, you have got several elements that you need to train. Similar story is with chess. So for example, first when you start the game, you always get the opening, right? So opening is first element that you have to train. It's pretty obvious. Okay. Later you have got middle game. Okay, and in the middle game, actually, you can divide middle game into two types, because in both types you have to think slightly, in a different way, and also you have to use different skills. So that thing is we can call it strategy, right? Or strategical middle game. It's more about planning. It's more about thinking about ideas, patterns, and things like that. And there is also second middle game, tactical middle game, right? Because if position is sharp, you have to focus more on the calculation. On calculation, on tactical possibilities, tactical motives. So we can divide it into two parts. Okay, after the middle game, here we come to the end game. Usually, I know that not every game has got the end game, but it happens quite often. End game is the part of the game when there are not that many pieces on the board, and we can divide end game again into two parts. Into practical part. For example, practical endgame is rook and bishop and 5 pawns against rook, bishop, and 4 pawns, for example. Usually you need to follow some principles. It is, by the way, I would say that practical endgames are quite similar, at least in the way of thinking, to the strategical middle game. Okay, and we have got also theoretical endgames, and theoretical endgames are like, let's say, how to checkmate with a rook, right? I mean, like king and the rook against the king. Or, for example, how to play in the position bishop, pawn, and the king versus the king, for example. So those are all elements that can happen. There is also one element that can happen through the entire game, and it is tactics. Because tactics is something that can happen from the, in the opening, in the middle game, in the end game. So you also have to train it as a separate element. Okay, so we have got those elements. that you have to train. Also, what I think is very important is to analyze your games. I mean, of course, you have to play some games. When I was training, when I was improving my chess, I was playing mostly OTB because online was not that popular. But of course you can play online as well. Just one thing about playing games: I don't recommend you to play, bullets or any fast blitz, because it hasn't got any educational effect. Yeah, I would say, I mean, rapid games are fine, of course, but bullet is just not helping, and I would even say that it's interrupting in your chess development. Okay, and of course, when you play some games, you have to analyze them. When you analyze your games, you can learn on your own mistakes, and you are working on all elements, right? Because usually game has got the opening, the middle game, the end game, so you are working at all elements at once. Okay, so this is like for the start. So now I'm gonna show you how did my training plan look like for 10 years. Okay, I hope you can see it at the moment. So take a look. This is I was working 2 hours every day for 10 years, and take a look. On Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I spent working on middle game, right? Both strategical and tactical. I was like analyzing classical games. I was doing, books, solving positions from those books, just everything in the middle game, right? So strategical, remember, is more about planning, ideas, evaluation and things like that. And tactical is more about calculation. You have to be very accurate. It's, very often there is an attack. You have to know how to play with your pieces, with your active pieces, and things like that. Later on Thursdays and Fridays, I usually work on end games, and both, right? Again, I try to, practical end games. Those are like simple positions from the middle games with not that many pieces, and as well theoretical. Again, I was doing mostly from the books. Here I can recommend you one book about endgames. It's a Panchenko's book. It's my favorite book about endgames, and I really recommend you to do that. And Saturday and Sunday I was working on the openings. So I play, for example, as white d4. So I need to be prepared that my opponent is playing Queen's Gambit. So I studied some lines in the Queen's Gambit or Catalan. I studied also. I have to be prepared for several openings, right? And when I play black, for example, after e4, I play mostly French. So I was studying different lines in the French. I was studying different lines against d4 and things like that. And what is very important, take a look. Every day, 30 minutes. Usually it was at the beginning. Sometimes I was doing that 50 minutes at the start, 50 minutes in the end. I was doing tactics, or I was... And about tactics, it wasn't that I was just doing puzzles. Of course, I was doing puzzles. But there are several bunch of exercises that you can use to work on tactics. And if you decide to sign up for the course, you can. I think I describe it in the lesson number 1. Of course, this is, let's say, the standard week. Right, the training plan for the standard week, because when I was at the let's call it tournament period, so I had got a lot of tournaments. I played the tournament. It took usually, let's say, 10 days, and at the tournament I was focusing mostly on openings because I have to prepare for my opponents, and I was also doing a little bit tactics, to be sharp all the time. And after the tournament, I was analyzing games, right? So this is, let's say, when there was a tournament, I was working on chess in a slightly different way. But if there were no, chess tournaments, I was doing it in a way that I just showed you. Okay, and now I'm gonna talk a little bit more about the 10-week course. So let me just show you. Here you have got a program, how the 10-week course to improve your chess look like. You can see that there are 10 lessons, 10 weeks, one lesson every week. Okay, I will do it maybe a little bit bigger. Okay, yeah, because now I'm gonna talk why I picked actually those topics. First of all, okay, but before I'll do that, maybe I will send you the link that you can join. Okay, 1 second. Yes, I will send you a link that you can join. Okay. So here at this link you can join to the course. Okay. So first of all, you see that those are 10 lessons, and those 10 lessons covers all important elements. So I'm gonna talk about every element. You can see that lesson 1 is about tactics. If you remember, I was also working on tactics every day, right? And here I also cover a couple, not only, okay. Second thing, for example, I talk about endgames. If you remember, Thursdays and Fridays, I was working on endgames, right? This is also one of the important elements. Here, opening repertoire, of course, is about openings. Lesson about evaluation, creating plan, and calculation is about strategical middle game, how to think in a strategical middle games, but also you can use that way of thinking in the practical end games. And also, active pieces is something that is extremely important in the tactical middle games, but as well calculation. And so you see that program covers all important elements of that you just need to train. Plus, in addition, I decided to add couple most common topics, most common problems that I have got some experience as a coach, and I know what are common problems. This is the reason why I made a lesson about blunders, and you can see that this is lesson number 3, because blunders is something that is very common among club players. I also make a lesson about game analyzing, so I'm explaining how should you analyze games, and I also made an extra lesson about time management, because I know that not everyone, but also it is good to know how to manage your time during the game. So you can see that it covers all important elements. Of course, I'm not gonna describe it too deeply, because I just want you to join to the course, right? And yes, and how does that course look like, right? What will you find in that one email a week that you will get? First of all, you will get, of course, there is always some text that I explain. I explain a topic, right? I of course show some exercises that you can do. If there are some useful videos, usually YouTube videos that I have created, I also give you some links. Also, I share some useful articles or useful sites that you can make some tests or things like that. So this is like another tool that you can train. And also, what is very important, I put some puzzles or some positions so that you have to analyze. And one very important thing about this course, I'm pretty sure that every player will make a significant progress, but you really have to not only read the email and forget about it, but you really have to make those exercises. You have to practice them. You have to follow all hints that are inside it, right? And I'm pretty sure that after 10 weeks, every player will gain. If you of course follow that, every player will gain at least 100 points, rating points. But of course, if you are doing that, if you are following every single hint. Okay, What else can I tell you? Okay, here I also wanted to show you the lesson, example of the lesson, how for example such a lesson look like. So let me go here. Okay, and so for example, this is the email that you will get. Of course, this is lesson number 7, and now let's go briefly through the lesson, right? You can see that at the beginning there is some text that I explain something, right? And later I will go down a little bit. That lesson is about evaluation. So you can see that there is like a theoretical part at the beginning. So you can see that I explain what kind of factors do you have to consider. It has to be material, it has to be king's safety in the middle game or king's activity, usually in the end games. You have to consider pawn structure, you have to consider pieces activity, and in the end you have to do the summary. Of course, it's explained with little bit more details how to do that. And later there is a practical example. This is actually positioned from one of my games in the past, and below I'm gonna show you how to follow those steps. You know, how to evaluate the position, how on this example, right? So you can see that I know that you don't see this position, but take a look. Material is equal, king safety, white has got weak king, right? Black is slightly better. Pawn structure, black has got better pawn structure. Okay, pieces activity, you can see that in total. Okay, what is that? White has got slightly more active pieces. And in the end, we have got summary, right? Okay. So you see, there is like a theoretical part, there is practical part, and now you have got some exercises for you to solve. So for example, take a look. This is an example. Actually, this is good timing because this is my game against Jan Nepomiaści. It was 20 years ago, but he beat me. Really, it was really a bad game for me, but okay. Okay, you know, you have got another example, right? This time from another from a classical game. It's actually Keres Geller, so 2 top players in the world in the 60s. And this is an example. You have to evaluate the position at this position at the moment, and you have got also another example. Okay, it's a position actually from the match for the world champion title against Alekhine and Capablanca. So this is like another position for you to analyze, and it's not enough just to take a look at the position and check solutions that are below, right? You can see because below there are solutions everywhere. You really have to go through the position and follow steps that I explained before. This is very important. Okay, 1 second. So this is how does the lesson look like, and in every topic you will get things like that. For example, in tactics, of course, I'm not gonna give you any positions from tactics because it doesn't make much sense. I'm just showing you how can you work on this, right? Because there are a lot of tactics, so you know, on chess.com or anywhere else that you can and a lot of tools that you can use to work on tactics. Yes. Okay, for example, in the end games, I give mostly, of course, except of some text, and I explain some most important things. I also give some useful links, and there is, for example, a quiz, right, or a test about how well do you know pawn endgames, or how well do you know rook endgames. Because pawn endgames, for example, this is like a basic type of endgame, and rook endgames is the most popular one, right? Almost 40% of all games are rook endgames. So this is another thing. Okay, is there anything else that I have to tell you? Okay, you see, in the end, I just want to tell you one last thing more, that you really have to do. You really have to practice those exercises watch those videos, and also solve those positions on your own, it's not enough to read, right? So I really encourage you to join to the course, especially that it's completely free, and you can join to the course by going to my website. It's www.mattbobula.com, and you can join to the course there. Okay, so I hope you will join and you will take the chance to learn something. Yeah, thank you very much for watching, and probably I hope to see you next time. Bye.